The most terrible things that were normal to Asian concubines. The role of concubines. Throughout the history of Asia, concubines were women who provided companionship, sexual services, and offspring to emperors, nobles, or wealthy individuals. Despite the privileges some concubines enjoyed, many faced cruel and demeaning experiences. Forced servitude and kidnapping. The lives of many concubines began with forced servitude. Girls were often taken from their families against their will, kidnapped, or sold by their parents in exchange for money or favors. Once chosen, these girls had no choice but to endure a life of servitude with little hope of ever escaping or returning to their previous lives. Extreme beauty standards. Concubines were expected to adhere to extreme beauty standards. In China, foot binding was a common practice, which involved breaking and reshaping a girl's feet to make them appear smaller. This agonizing process often resulted in lifelong pain, infection, and disability. In other Asian cultures, concubines underwent similar painful modifications to meet beauty standards, such as teeth blackening in Japan and neck elongation in Myanmar. Punishments and abuse. Concubines who failed to please their masters or who broke rules governing their behavior could face severe punishments and abuse. These included beatings, floggings, or even mutilation. Punishments were often carried out in public, serving as a warning to other concubines and leaving lasting physical and emotional scars. Rivalries and sabotage. Competition among concubines for their master's attention and favor was intense, leading to a ruthless environment filled with jealousy and rivalry. Some concubines resorted to sabotaging their rivals or their rivals' children to improve their own standing within the household. These acts of betrayal could result in serious injury, illness, or even death, with the perpetrators often escaping punishment if their actions went undiscovered. Sexual violence and exploitation. Concubines were expected to be sexually available to their masters at all times and were often subjected to sexual violence and exploitation. They had no choice but to submit to their master's desires, regardless of their own feelings or well-being. The physical and psychological trauma inflicted upon these women was immense, yet they had little recourse for seeking justice or protection. Forced abortions and infanticide. If a concubine became pregnant and the child was not wanted by the master, she might be forced to undergo a dangerous and painful abortion. In some cases, infants born to concubines were killed immediately after birth, particularly if they were female, due to their perceived lower value. These terrible practices were a stark reminder of the harsh realities faced by concubines and their children, who were considered little more than commodities to be used or discarded at their master's whim. Disposability and discarding. Concubines who fell out of favor or were deemed no longer useful faced a life of disposability and discarding. They could be cast aside, left to live in squalor or poverty, with no means of supporting themselves or their children. Some were forced into the life of begging or prostitution, struggling to survive in a society that offered them no protection or support. The terrible experiences faced by Asian concubines throughout history serve as a stark reminder of the darker aspects of the human civilization. Their suffering and exploitation should not be forgotten or dismissed as a mere footnote in the annals of the past. By examining these harrowing aspects of history, we can develop a deeper understanding of the societies in which they occurred and work to prevent similar injustices in the future. Thank you for joining us as we explored the most terrible things that were considered normal for Asian concubines. If you found this video enlightening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, History Unearthed. For more eye-opening historical content, leave a comment below with your thoughts or any topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the darker corners of history.